I'm a biofeedback therapist and a mindfulness teacher. My biofeedback training it's been around about 50 years in medicine. It's psychophysiology, it's mind-body medicine, it's a part of the integrative medicine. And I worked at Scripps Center for Integrative Medicine, which is kind of our flagship, actually in the nation, centers for bringing together stuff that traditionally isn't taught in med school. It was considered too hippy-dippy. Literally, when I proposed that we study this stuff in my brain lab at Scripps, my lab director said, "Jim, I used to be a hippie too." And he literally said that. We're not studying that. You got to study epilepsy. And I said no, which I almost lost my job the first time. And this was just in like the late 80s. And now that same guy is one of the people you go to if you want to get the largest list of studies on meditation. Same guy. That's how much stuff has changed. National Institutes of Health now spend over $100 million a year to study so-called hippy-dippy thing. The problem we had with it was it was too complex to study with our tools of medicine early on because it requires subtlety. To study the effects of the mind, we have to make the mind an instrument. And that really wasn't the strength of Western science. Western science, from its outset, the natural philosophers, as they used to call themselves before they had the word scientist, they studied outside stuff. Because if you studied inside stuff, the church would knock on your door. And literally they'll put you on a timeout for the rest of your life. And you're lucky. The Holy Roman Empire at the time. And this was the time of the Inquisition. This was a really rough time to be curious without being a member of the right church. Galileo was literally put on timeout for the rest of his life. So what happened? Western science grew up as something that stayed really far away from anything that looked like it was psychological or subjective, internal, or invisible. Because the flag would go up, devil, or witch, right? And we had about 400 years of basically clinical insanity in Europe. So it was a really no-go zone. And so the fact that all of these institutions, from Harvard and Princeton and Yale and the National Institutes of Health, are falling all over themselves to study this thing that used to be completely, like even in my own lifetime, 1989, was really a huge change. And the curve, we're studying mindfulness, yoga, or meditation. Now, this is about 1980. 1984, Herbert Benson at Harvard did one of the first studies on it, and it just kind of petered along. In 1989, I asked for permission and was told no, right? And now here we are. The data goes out to about 2014 right now, and the curve literally looks like this. It's the most amazing thing. Yoga, meditation, and mindfulness. So it's really gathering legitimate, serious scientific interest all over. And you'll hear it on Oprah, and you'll hear it on TV, and you'll hear it from pretty much, you almost can't get away from it. And I'm calling it Nick mindfulness now because what's happening is it's being commodified and it's being, really shrunk down to even like 3-second mindfulness. I think I heard 1-second mindfulness last year, right? And it's almost like another miss